This is How the Rich Earn Money and the Income Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. If you don't have much information on Robert Kiyosaki, he was basically someone who got rich under the guidance of a rich dad. This dad was a dropout from school, but was entrepreneurial and was very well versed in personal finance and investing. On the other hand, he had a poor dad who earned a high income salary as an educator, but still had financial difficulties and had what he called traditional values. Now, the income quadrant shows us the possible sources of income in relation to our involvement as people. It's how everyone in the world earns money. We're going to start off with the E group. E stands for employees. This is someone who holds a job under a business. This is your day-to-day McDonald's burger flipper, to the nurse next door, the receptionist at your lawyer's office, or even your mom working at the local car dealership. The second letter in the cash flow quadrant is S. S stands for self-employed. These are the usual self-starters that own their businesses but are active participants in it. For example, these are the lawyers that own law firms, the doctors that own their own clinics, or the restaurant owners that manage their own place. These individuals work for themselves and call the shots, but a key point is that if they leave their businesses, it won't be able to function. You can just imagine having a doctor's office without a doctor, right? So that's the self-employed quadrant. The next section of the quadrant we will tackle is the B side. The B stands for businesses. And these are individuals who receive their cash from big corporations that they own or co-own. These businesses have hierarchies and usually have many levels of management. So you're thinking owners of multiple chains or big brands such as Nike and Microsoft. And of course, the last section in the quadrant, I, stands for investor. This is basically when the money you own is used to purchase assets or things of value that will give you more money or assets as an end result. There's many things we can put our money in, but some of the most common ones are real estate and stocks. Some of the more newer forms of investments are cryptocurrencies and microloans. Now, what does this framework have to do with you? Robert Kiyosaki mentions that we all fall in one of these quadrants, and you can have success in all of them. This tool is really powerful because it allows us to see where we are with regards to how we earn money. It also makes us realize our potential to reach other quadrants that we haven't been able to before. Mr. Kiyosaki also mentions that skills from the business and investor side will help reach our financial goals faster. Employees or self-employed individuals will also need to bridge over to the I side to secure their retirement at some point in the future. It's important to note that the individuals on the left side of the quadrant has a completely different mindset to those of the right. Values, beliefs, and a person's general view of the world has a strong influence on which quadrant a person will be placed. So ask yourself, which quadrant are you more inclined to fall under? Let's do an example. Someone who leans towards the employee quadrant values security, predictability, and work benefits. This is someone who considers work perks like pension plans and additional medical benefits when making job decisions. This is also someone who thinks that the pursuit of traditional education is a crucial part of success. On the other side, someone who leans toward the investor or business quadrant can tolerate risk. This is someone who is comfortable with the expected volatility of investing and also the high-risk nature of starting one's own business. Mr. Kiyosaki argues that everyday folks like you and I often choose the left side of the quadrant because we choose security over freedom. And he says it's not really our fault. From school at an early age, that's what we've been taught to pursue. And many of the skills required to be on the right side are often forgotten about in the classroom. Even more, if your mom and dad have always relied on the E or S quadrant, it's more than likely that they push and influence you to do the same. Mainly because that is really the only way they know how to obtain income. So if you're ever thinking of making the switch to the quadrants on the right, you probably gain an idea of what challenges you'll be facing. It requires commitment and could be quite the burden emotionally. If you had grown up in the more traditional family where employment and stability is expected, you may even find your family members a hindrance. You will hear comments such as, "You need a job. What if you fail? This is too risky." Or my favorite, "Just go back to university and get your PhD." If you're truly passionate about your financial goals, you will need to learn to see past these criticisms. You need to be so absorbed in your vision of the future that you become not only unaffected, but even more motivated by these comments. Mr. Kiyosaki directly addresses those of us who are unhappy with what we do. And apart from letting us know where we are in obtaining income, this concept can help provide a path to those who are trapped in our jobs. So if you feel like you've been enslaved because you've got a mortgage, kids to feed, and bills to pay, establishing a path becomes even more important for you. There you go, that's the income quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Hopefully it had made you reflect on where you are at the cash flow game, and also made you think about your own personality and which quadrant you wish to pursue in the future. If you've learned something new, don't forget to subscribe or like. Thanks for listening.